Hey, loved ones. Hey, patriots. This is the flag bearer. The only reason I'm making this video is that I have about 60, 70 subscribers and a few friends that watch these things. So I'm going to go ahead and say what I think is an epiphany, what I believe is a gift. What if, and I'm saying much stronger than that, but I'm just going to do this as delicately as I can. What if this process is to rescue trafficked, some who have never seen the light of day, some who may not even have language, traumatized in ways that we can't imagine? How would be the best way to ease them in that we could? And not only that, but the truth, and have the truth be known, and not lose it, but use it to become what we were meant to be instead of what we've been led to believe. I'm just in the cosmic scheme, the way that I've been had it put to me that I really like it is that, I'm not necessary, but I'm really nice to have, especially in times of crisis. I don't know how much of that is true. I do know that I learned a long time ago that I'm not very good at life and dealing with little things made into big things, because I've dealt with big things a lot. And I needed to have gotten over that. My insensitivity has hurt a lot of people, blah, blah, blah. But right now, let's stick with this. I've been ahead of the trend on a lot of this stuff for a long time. Some of it's like the Bible says, take no glory in the fact that every soul will show itself to you. Sometimes knowledge, in fact, when you look at the story of Adam and Eve and the tree of knowledge, the apple, knowledge, then you talk about Pandora's box, once it's opened. And then we were warned about false gods, about demigods. But I don't remember ever being told about Moloch or Baal. The stuff I was told about Satan it's pales just compared to his disciples, let alone how, if you take it to the furthest degree, it would be. Donald Trump has taken a lot of garbage, because what does the devil have to attack us with? Our loved ones, our familiars, the people that we depend on around us, I've been used before I really started understanding what I had meditated and read so many times about controlling our thoughts and staying on top of them. You know, the whole package that we've been offered. And right now, I believe that we're at the threshold of a truly new beginning. I believe that this whole portion of it is benevolent, and that we must surrender to our higher power. And that higher power can't be about hate, it can't be about resentment, it can't be about revenge. That higher power has to be about living in the now and making the now better. Our lives matter, and we literally create matter. Subconsciously, it's a monster. Consciously, it's a blessing, but yet it's also a lot of responsibility that comes with it. The more power we have, when we go off the rails, more that are hurt or harmed. Because we are in a chain of creation. What they intended to do was to get us to blow up, to turn on each other and blow up. They've been training and working on us to, in the end, to even eat each other, like they do. Let's just take a time together. Let's take time to put aside everything. Understand we've been duped and that there's a new way of living coming. That our survivability is going up exponentially day by day as we continue this process. If you're people of faith, I petition you to pray for our enemies, to pray for God to provide the solutions to these things, that there's going to be a huge purging, and it goes back to the old days of our Bible, when Saul, the tall and beautiful one, was given victory over the Sodomites and some other folks, and God said, kill them all. Don't keep anything of theirs. Kill them all. And Saul didn't see it that way. And that was like one of the turning points where things went bad for us. And this time, it's up to us. We can't sit back and wait on God or Jesus. We have to be the best that we can be, their representatives in this situation. I like to call it a situation, but it really pisses off a lot of people that love me, so I'm going to do my best to create a character where I can do that to folks who will appreciate it. Maybe that'll be a small crowd, but nevertheless. So anyway, my very small crowd of folks, I want you to know that these deep, right conspiracy theories concerning ancient and warned sins of blood sacrifice, of slavery, to agree that we never really considered. And the opportunity to end and change that, but it can't be by sticking your head up the hole in the ground And it can't be done by bullying us and making us turn away. Once I found out what was truly, for all these years, I've just been doing my best to be worth it and to give back what was given to me. But in the last 8 years or 6 years, I don't know, it seems like forever now, since I've known about them, the way they derive their powers and the alchemy and how all these things tie in together and how all these people are inbred and tie in together, and how this thing has gone on much longer than we could have ever imagined. I've been blessed to study under people who were way ahead of our time and kept from telling me the end. They just kept giving me questions and giving me paths to investigate for myself. And it's time of action, people. I'm begging you to put your faith and your trust behind this president. I'm begging you to go forward with this one more time, and that we, the people, keep the information, keep the community going, build the accountability of where the money is going and how it's done, and keep it the way that it was meant to be in the first place. Every time I've ever discussed us having a chance of changing this world, people say this is the way it's always been done. I'd like to really tell you that the Sumerians did it for a very long time and had clay tablets that recorded everything with accountability and truth, and that society lasted for maybe 385,000 years, according to some folks, and at least far longer than our history shows. And now that they're being truthful about all the archaeology, and they're or not all of it, but they're coming truthful and showing how long some of these things have been around, how long life has been around here. And then they'll start showing us how many, whether it's interdimensional or whatever our visitors are, the number of visitors that we have and that we're actively dealing with. And we can decide as a people where to go with this information. I've never had a president in my life nearly as transparent as Trump. I listen to all his getting on and off the planes that I can, and all the places, the whole interview process, not just what CNN or one of these gagaboots are telling me. I'm able to view in and see what he says all the way through, and then watch how they manipulate it. At first, it was just disgusting how out of context they were treating him. But I'd had that in my life before. My own personal life. I had a much smaller attack, and I'll tell you something, it tore me down to the ground. If I didn't have you, invisible, wonderful reason to do my best and to believe that even a little guy like me can make a difference, I'd have nothing. At this point in my life, I'd have nothing. And that's not the way I feel. I have a fellowship that has built in me the incredible ability to say no to alcohol and pharmaceuticals. And I will, only God could do it, and us. And I have friends who help me do work and give me work that I didn't know how to do those things, and now I have a working ability to do things that I never knew how to do before. And when that officer um, brutally uh, threw me against a car, grabbed me by the beard and my poor left arm and shoulder and slung me into that car and then grabbed me and threw me onto that ground. I don't even, there was two of them, but I don't even remember the second one after exiting the door touching me, but I really don't know because um, it went down hard. But when he started pulling my arms back and doing the thing with putting the cuffs on, he pulled my left arm way too far back. I mean, I had to let go of literally feeling to keep from passing out. My right shoulder has been really opened up and worked on and all of that stuff, and he grabbed it around and cuffed it really hard on the wrist and yanked me. And that yanking did something to me. I mean, from top to bottom. And I've had my ribs broke before, but never up in the upper diaphragm like that, up here. And the pain didn't hit me all at once. I go into kind of an operational readiness once I'm attacked, and until I'm to the place that I either can't defend myself and I got to go unconscious, uh, or I find a way to make the other person want to stop. I've been pretty lucky, even when the ones I've really lost bad, of making the person stop, even though they didn't want to. But I'll tell you what, I didn't have no way of stopping that. And then they're holding and grabbing my arms, trying to keep me from falling, which I wasn't having trouble with my balance. But every time they touched my arms, I was getting like electrical. I do electrical work. I like to say I'm an electrician, but I never did journey out. I just worked my ass off and learned everything I could from everybody I could and used their smarts and used their talents. And we had a really good business that I was more proud of than I could ever say. Working with people that were greater than me and getting better. We were all getting better. We were just about, I lost my son, and then this stuff came down, and I was just getting it together when the economy went down the toilet. And lost everything, through that process. Um, I'd been able to hide my pain. I couldn't hide my pain. Let me tell you honestly. My family, my two wives, ex, my children that I know of, that I know, and everybody around me really helped me through one of the most selfish times of my life. I emotionally distanced my son from the time that I got back because of the violent things that was happening inside of me. And he and my first wife were exposed to things that were far more dangerous than they should have ever been. but that's just who I was. And Brian was the one that always stood by me. We argued fiercely, but we never gave up on each other. We just took time out. He's the one that would always tell me to my face, whatever it was. He was the one that brought it to me. And when I went down, when I was found guilty and went to prison, he was the one that was fierce about defending me. And I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it. And my last wife would come by and we would go for walks. She would make me get out and go for walks. She'd talk with me. You know, I was in a lot of pain. I really don't even remember anything other than trying to find a place that I could love myself enough to take another breath. The night my son was killed, I gave him the keys to my car and told him to go get some steaks. And just like I would have at that point, you know, he was buzzed and going, and he went on out to a place over here in Renton called Snake Hill Road, and on the second set of turns, he lost it in the first and recovered, and then the second one it flipped on him, and long story, I'll shorten it for now, but he was killed. My son, my younger son and I went and found him, and I rolled on the ground to keep from grabbing the guy and running down the hill. My shame had held me up to the top of that thing waiting for them for, I don't know, I'm thinking like almost 40 minutes before the guy with the coroner t-shirt came up. And I should have been down there. And every single thing that I should have done, I did not do. So, for those of us who are going through it, and it's really tough, let me tell you, it can get really tough. For me, it was like a tsunami, and the only thing that I could tell you is to keep breathing. You know, when the tsunami hits you, keep breathing. Be around people that you care for, and don't think about your pain. If I know that, at first, think about their pain. Even if you can't feel it because you're just dying inside and the only thing you want to do is die. You got to remember that you're important to other people. And that's how we get through things, is to be there for each other when the shit hits the fan. And my son Brian came to me twice. Once told me to knock it off. That his sister needed a father and his brother needed a dad, or vice versa. I was kind of shocked by the whole event. And the second time he told me that I had to knock off my guilt and my hate in myself or he couldn't come visit me anymore because he is of the light. He was of the truth and of the love. It took me a while, even after all of that. But then that old life came up on me again, and I lived long enough to find out the truth about the children. I'd been on to it for a number of years, in and out of it. My sister Dottie was incredibly involved in knowing what they were doing with the unborn and what they intended to do, and told me as best she could, and I just couldn't accept it. And she gave me hard proof, hard proof. When there's late term abortions, and I said she is an effing liar, and she proved to me that she was not a liar in any way. And yeah, all I can say is listen. When I'm telling you that we're at a point that we could only dream of, and that without divine intervention and a lot of us coming of age and really putting ourselves in a position, in a concentration and a level of duty that I never knew that I could be who I'm being right now. I did not know that I could be this quality of a man, regardless of what I am in anybody's eyes, in my own eyes, to know that I want to get up for me, because this guy will find something to do somehow in the day. And he has these little things, and instead of saying stupid things or trying to be funny or quirky, he says things that are meant, the observations that he sees in people that are beautiful. I see, for whatever reason, I see beautiful in people, and sometimes there's a lot of damage I see too. But I'm not here to judge all that. I've got one simple job to do, and I know I mucked it up, or I'd be doing more better. But I I've learned to accept that we're fallen, fractured people, and when I try to offer something that when it's too close to them, it triggers a pain, and they push and they hurt away, and that's what I've done. And all I can say is that I'm tired of doing that, and I hope that you are too. And I hope with all my heart that in some way this can bring you some peace, that all of this crazy stuff that has been going on just before Donald Trump got elected and since Donald Trump has got elected has been a very important time, and a plan and a process that was put together with heavenly, the best of what we are, to do the best of what we can do for the best of who we can be. And I hope that we can maintain this, that our youth can pick it up, that we can find peace and see the kindness and goodness in each other and work on that instead of picking out things that bother us. Find a way to process through it. If we work together, this is going to come out to be the greatest thing that ever happened to humanity. And I believe that with all my heart. I've worked on it with all my heart all my life. God bless you. Stay strong. This is a nation that can change the nations of the whole creation. God bless you. Your life matters. Our Father is God, and God loves you. Never, ever give up on you. Stay strong. We're in it to win it. My name is Fred Pepper. I'm just a flag bearer. I love you. Stay strong. Bye-bye. Yeah.